it's all about relationships
Yeah.
in real estate. And you know that. It's just helping the community and giving back. It's
See, and
big.
that's where your mindset has to be.
Yeah.
And you will be able to seek gains from that, but not with the thought of doing something manipulative or deceiving.
No, absolutely.
It's genuinely leading with your heart.
Right.
And
yep. There's so many deals out there. It doesn't. No, if I lose one, it is what it is. It's not a big deal. We're going to continue to move forward.
Yeah.
And I've had a few investors say like, oh, like I don't want to work with you because you're an investor. Absolutely not. I am going to educate every single person.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many deals out there and so many opportunities, and everybody has a different goal.
Right.
That it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like at this point in my career, I don't necessarily want, you know, the smaller houses that cash flow that much. I want the houses that are going to appreciate over time.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Tim here with the TMA Connection. It's your local podcast that focuses on the lives of people who are making a difference, whether in themselves, in the community, in their family. And we talk about real estate too, and we're going to blend all this together because for the first time ever, I've got another real estate agent in the podcast. How about that?
Yeah, woohoo.
I know, right?
It's always fun.
This is Aly Anderson. Aly Anderson is a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway PenFed Realty in our office. And but she's a lot more than that, man. She is a phenomenal mom. She's a phenomenal wife, and not my wife, Brian's wife. And she's also an investor, and she's done a lot with that. And you know, people sometimes say, "Hey, you bringing people on the podcast to like try to get business or something like that?" No, I'm giving away business today because Aly, no, I'm actually learning this for myself. So
awesome. This
is selfish, and I want to learn more from you because you are killing it out there.
Appreciate it.
And so without further ado, Aly Anderson, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing me on. Hey,
absolutely. I've been looking forward to this conversation. So let's just start this off with giving everybody a little bit of a background about who you are.
Right.
I gave everybody
Here
a little bit.
No, so I was a state trooper flight medic.
Okay.
Loved my job. It was a great job. Me and my husband both did it. So way back, 7 years ago, we sat down with our CPA, and he's like, hey, you have a little bit of money. We didn't have kids at the time. And he's like, what are you going to do with that money? And I'm like, I don't know.
Okay.
And we really sat down and thought about it. And he's like, well, at the time we already had a house that was a rental, kind of an accidental rental, which we can talk about that. But he's like, you're doing really well with this rental property. What are your thoughts about getting other rentals? And my husband's like, heck no. Like, I'm a cop. Like, I'm not going to be a slumlord. I'm not doing this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And that was a battle. But long story short,
you won.
Heck yeah, come on now. We all know that. We know who wears the pants. Yes, we do. So we started looking around, and our budget was kind of small. We talked to a bunch of lenders, and we kind of learned the ropes a little bit. And we found these 2 foreclosures that the pictures were terrible, but they were each about 1,000 square feet. They were in this 4-plex, and there was it was 2-bedroom, like essentially townhouses.
Yeah.
But it literally needed paint, so we thought.
Boy.
Paint, needed floors.
Yeah.
And my husband's like, yeah, like let's fix it up, turn it into a rental, it'll be great. So we got into that. We fixed those 2 up. We decided we were going to put AC in and a few other things. So we put about $30,000 into each. So they were $45,000. We bought them together with a local lender. Put that money in. That extra money was what kind of like we used our cash flow from us being state troopers.
Yeah.
And then we put a renter in and we started cash flowing. And we started to realize the opportunity that we have.
Okay.
So we have a little bit of time before kids, of course, that we could like create that opportunity and give someone else a better life.
Yeah.
And have these quality rental properties that like make a difference in the community.
Right.
So we started with, like I said, we had that 1, then we went to 2. Within the last 5 years, we're up to 13.
13
Yes.
rental properties.
Long-term rentals, yes. We have a short-term rental. That's a whole nother story.
Okay. That's an Airbnb, right?
That is, yes.
Okay. All right.
So we really just kind of like took off, not necessarily with a goal in mind, but just saying like, we have a little bit of money. What are we going to do with this? And just like you and I talk about, I'm a firm believer in giving back to the community. That is one of my main goals, obviously being a trooper and a flight medic and being a nurse. And I just love what I do. And I love helping people and educating people. It's just ingrained in me. And being able to put people in these properties and give them stability. It's just been awesome.
Yeah.
So this is a long story. So once we started doing that, we started kind of doing a little bit of flipping, kind of here and there, kind of just on our own time, just a little bit of like fun money.
Okay.
And that's kind of like how everything started. It just completely snowballed. And it's been awesome. The community's been awesome. I get to know a lot of the neighbors, and that's actually how I buy a lot of the houses.
Really? Okay.
But yeah, it was kind of an accidental way of starting investment, but it has grown so much, and we've learned so much just through like talking to other people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've talked about doing rentals. You've done, how many flips have you guys done?
We've probably done 4 currently.
4.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the last like 3 years. So we just closed on one. 2 days ago.
Okay.
And that was probably like the best ever. I absolutely love the person. We bought it from the family.
Okay.
We just helped them out. There was a lot of issues going on in that house.
Sure.
I actually went on a listing appointment to see this house.
Okay.
And it was the daughter. The mom was very sick. And the daughter's like, look, my mom hasn't been paying the taxes. I just want to get this over with. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Like, we're going to take it just like you. It's like, we're going to list this, make it as easy as possible. That's our job. Well, as we go down into the basement had about 2 inches of water.
Oh my
and
goodness.
she just burst out crying. She's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm not ready for this. And I'm like, no problem. So I called my plumber. He came out. He turned off the water main. We figured out the issue. And I'm like, hey, instead of me listing it and it taking maybe 30 days, I'll just buy it from you next week. No problem. And she's like, oh my gosh, you really would do that? I said, yeah. And we worked through the issues, and we made it her life easier. And that was my goal. And I adore that family. Like, I volunteer with the people, with the program they work for, and they're just good, genuine people, but I got them out of a problem. And that's my goal in the community, is helping others.
Yeah.
And it does.
Yeah.
So we bought that house, and this is a flip, the recent flip. We bought that house. We used a contractor because our lives are busy. We have 2 little ones. It's just crazy. So we used a contractor, someone that I know, like, and trust. He did the whole thing for $40,000, and we just listed it. We just closed on it for $230,000.
Wow. So how much profit did that turn into?
About $90,000. Yeah. So
now,
that is a grand slam.
Right.
Grand slam. Let me tell you. No.
Disclaimer at the bottom of the screen that should say results may vary.
Exactly.
You know,
so we were very blessed and lucky. We got quotes from different contractors, and there was a little bit of stuff that we did. There was a substantial amount of like clothing and stuff, and we donated that, and there was ways that we saved money.
Okay.
Just based on like what we've seen in the past and the people we know.
Yeah.
But yes, that was a grand slam.
Yeah.
They're available, but that's typically not.
All right. Well, let's get real then.
Yeah.
Tell me a time when it wasn't a grand slam.
Our first one, it was a blast.
Yeah.
So we bought a foreclosure. I was not a realtor at the time. I felt like the numbers worked. My husband, we didn't have littles. We had 1 little at the time. So we were like, okay, we're just gonna do it ourselves. It's gonna be cheaper. Well, you can't yell at your husband the way you yell at a contractor. Just FYI, it doesn't work out that way.
So you can yell at a contractor more, or
he will fix it. Your husband won't. I promise you that.
That makes sense. Okay.
I love my husband.
I'm thinking about Amy right now.
I love my husband. He did a great job, but he did the majority of the work.
Okay.
And there was a few things that took him longer than it should, or, that I just, looking back, feel like if I would have had a contractor in there, it would have been a lot quicker, and we would have been able to just move.
Yeah.
So with that one, it was a longer amount of time.
Okay.
And it's just, the numbers were tighter than we really should have looked at. We bought it for $152,000, I believe, and we ended up selling it for $210,000. Long story short, we made $7,000 off of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. But at least you were in the green, right?
And 100%. People have to realize that you do not typically get a college degree for investing.
Yeah.
This is a learning experience. And I just had a conversation with one of my big investors, and they're absolutely amazing. I love them. And they are probably going to lose money on a house I'm going to sell for them. Hopefully this year. So they bought it for $30,000. They put over $150,000 into this house.
Holy smokes.
Not in the neighborhood that it's worth that amount of money.
Okay.
It's a brand new house, but all the houses around are vacant.
Gotcha.
So it looks beautiful, but that's the nicest house on the street.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And they're going to probably break even, maybe make a few $1,000s, but they have a lot of their own money into it. And I talked to her and she's like, you know what? This is a learning experience. I didn't go to college for it. There's a ton of lessons learned. We're going to do better next time.
Yep.
So people have to realize, just dive in. Just get it. Just start working.
You're never going to know it all.
Exactly.
Until you actually do it.
And look at the stock market. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. It happens. But as long as you're educated and you make strategic decisions and have plan A, B, and C, that's really all of what investing is.
Yeah.
This Sherwood property we just closed on. So my buyer, I had an amazing agent on the other side. He was a workhorse.
Okay.
We had a grant with that property. So the buyer was getting a $10,000 grant for closing costs. We were already helping with closing costs.
Okay.
But she still needed a little bit of help. No problem. We found the grant. I was comfortable with it. Cool. Well, 5 days before closing, it got denied. And we're like, okay, now we have to put the house back on the market. Like it's changed a little bit. What's our strategy?
Yeah.
So there's something called the BRRRR strategy. I don't know. Are you familiar?
Buy.
Come on.
Rehab. I don't know. Go ahead.
Rent.
BRRR, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, you're going to buy a house.
Okay.
You're going to fix it up.
Yep.
You're going to You're going to rent it. You're going to refinance it.
Okay.
And then you're going to pull all of that money, that
equity?
forced depreciation, that equity out of the property. And now you're going to take that money and you're going to repeat.
Okay. Gotcha.
So with the Sherwood house, we had $100,000 that we could essentially play with.
Yep.
That if we refinance, I could pull that money out and I could go buy another property and I could repeat that process.
Yes.
If I was to put a renter in, it would be $1,950 a month.
Okay.
We already looked at our plan A, B, and C, so we knew that even before selling.
Yeah.
We said, okay, if we get $1,950 a month for rent, I'm still going to cash flow a little bit, maybe $200 or $300. Now I have $100,000 to go buy another one and could keep repeating that process.
Gotcha.
So that was our plan B if selling didn't work out.
Yeah.
So always have different options.
Okay, good.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Whether it's types of renters, there's tons of different. So you have short-term, long-term, medium-term, you have the nurses you can work with, you have corporate housing. There's so many different opportunities in investing in general. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like if some people don't want to do anything and maybe have a little bit of money, there's hard money lending.
Sure, yeah.
Which is a whole nother podcast.
And you've gotten into that as well.
Yeah, we've started that process as well.
That's awesome.
And I like the fact that you can dabble in a little bit. If you're like, my life is crazy, but I really like real estate, that's where hard money comes in. And it's a great return. And you can have your hands in the project if you want. I have one in Hagerstown right now.
Okay.
Or you don't. You could be hands off and just say, hey, look, go for it. I'll see my money in a year.
What kind of interest rates are hard money lenders getting on their money?
So it completely varies based on the time, the risk level, the expertise, kind of all of that. Right now I'm seeing between 9 and 14%.
Okay.
But then there's also some points and stuff that you have to pay up front.
Okay.
But again, it's all dependent on your expertise.
Yeah.
There's sometimes where I call up my hard money lender and I'm like, hey, dude, this is a great opportunity. Instead of us negotiating back and forth, he's like, hey, I'll split the deal with you.
Okay.
And then we'll go 50-50. So it's all about relationships in real estate. And you know that. It's just helping the community and giving back. It's
that's where your mindset has to be.
Yeah.
And you will be able to seek gains from that, but not with the thought of doing something manipulative or deceiving.
No, absolutely.
It's genuinely leading with your heart and you know.
There's so many deals out there. It doesn't. No, if I lose one, it is what it is. It's not a big deal. We're going to continue to move forward.
Yeah.
And I've had a few investors say I don't want to work with you because you're an investor. Absolutely not. I am going to educate every single person. There's so many deals out there and so many opportunities, and everybody has a different goal.
Right.
That it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like at this point in my career, I don't necessarily want the smaller houses that cash flow that much. I want the houses that are going to appreciate over time so that I can fix them up and sell them in a year or two.
Gotcha.
Or like the multifamilies. We've done multifamilies and it's just not my typical cup of tea.
Yeah.
But I have other investors that's all they do.
Yeah.
So there's so many different opportunities. The big thing is just get educated, learn, talk to the right people, have those resources on hand when you're ready.
Yeah, that's awesome. Talking about deals, a lot of times you can get to deals before they get on the MLS, because once they get on the MLS, it's public, and
absolutely.
Then that drives up the price, and so you're trying to get something at an affordable price that makes sense.
Yeah.
So outside of the MLS, you talked about going on a listing appointment, and it just worked out that you were able to help them with buying it instead of listing the house.
Yep.
What are some other ways that you guys are gaining access to these opportunities?
So real quick, going back to the MLS, you're absolutely right. Those quick deals that are right there, sometimes those foreclosures do go really fast.
Yeah.
However, right now there are opportunities on the MLS, and we are writing lower offers, and we're getting them.
Yeah.
We just got a condo down the street that is worth $230, and we're closing tomorrow for $170.
Wow.
So yes.
So there are.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to realize that every seller has a different motivation.
Sure.
It could be that this is their mom's house and the taxes haven't been paid, and you have a full-time job and you just want to get this burden off. You don't know until you try.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of work on the MLS.
Okay.
Something called a wholesaler.
Yeah.
I work with several different wholesalers that I know in the area.
Okay.
And they will bring opportunities.
Is there a lot of are there a lot of opportunities with wholesaling out there?
There are. I actually bought 2 last year.
Oh.
So got to be very careful. Got to do your due diligence. You have to be aware that you're kind of walking into something that you're assuming all the risk.
Yeah.
So it has to be a good deal that you can kind of cushion that risk.
Okay.
But there is definitely. Another thing is I write handwritten letters to, if I buy a house, everybody on that street gets a letter saying, hey, I'm an investor, just moved in. Let me know if you know anybody that's willing to buy, or that's willing to sell.
Yeah.
And I am under contract on one in Perryville right now that we close in January from a letter, a handwritten letter.
Wow.
Yeah. So the big thing is, like, and I'm going to keep going back to this, is community involvement. People know, like, and trust you. They're going to bring opportunities to you.
Sure.
In having that education. And I'm not going to go and the house we're going to buy, the individual just had a stroke. Oh. He's having surgery today. Hopefully it all goes well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Let's just take some time, get healthy. I know you have to move in with your sister. Let me know when you're ready.
Yep.
And that's simply what we're doing.
Keep them first.
So I knew he hadn't paid the water bill, and I knew he had a leak in his roof. So I said, hey, let me know what resources you need. He's my neighbor. So I said, I'm going to put on a roof. I'll give you the contact information. We can work through it. Unfortunately, he didn't have the money.
Yeah.
But in terms of the water bill, we gave him those resources and made sure that he was comfortable living, knowing that at some point we probably are going to buy his property because he likes and trusts us.
Yeah.
And I was willing to honestly keep him in the property, let him be comfortable, and then maybe we just charge him rent so we can maintain the house.
Right.
There's just a lot of stuff like that. I have a gentleman that just passed away. His brother's still living in one of my properties, but I know they have a fire damaged house down the street. Instead of me kicking out this brother, he's lived here for over 10 years. I said, hey, maybe we just do a trade and you live here the rest of your life. It's helping the community and making their lives better.
Yeah.
Like, nobody likes to move. We know that. Yeah, we're realtors. Nobody likes to move. I promise you that.
Right.
But let's make our lives easier.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit, and you don't have to go super deep, but as far as the math for what constitutes a good deal, and let's break this into 2 subsections: for a flip and for rental.
Okay, so let's go flip first.
Okay.
So a lot of investors like 70% of the after repair value.
Okay.
So they want a 30% profit.
Okay.
So if the house after repair value is $100,000, they want to make $30,000.
Okay.
That's a little tricky right now. But if you can make $10,000 off a deal and keep moving, that's really, sometimes that's a better opportunity because you're just, growing. So it's really what your overall goal is.
So if I'm taking the after repair value and I want to make, I have to put an offer in, but then I also I have to look at the repairs too.
You want to subtract the repairs as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's say 100,000. So you're 70,000. So you want to make that 30,000.
Yep.
So that 70,000 is if the house is already fixed up.
Okay.
Say you need to put $10,000 into it. Now you want to buy that house for 60,000 or less.
Okay. Like that simple math.
Yeah. Super simple.
Now, do
That's
you
a
go
down
in,
and
do you
dirty.
go in at 60,000 or do you try to go in a little bit lower?
We try to go in a little lower.
Okay.
Because they're always going to try to negotiate. That's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
So why not? And
Yeah.
I have a few investors that sometimes they tell me like what they want to offer, and I'm like, excuse me, like that's embarrassing. I said, I'm really sorry to the agent, but this is what my client told me.
Okay.
But sometimes it works. I had a client get a house for 30,000 last year,
Right.
and I was like, you really want me to offer this? But we
and it panned out.
it went through. You
Guess you-
just don't know the seller's motivation.
Right. Right.
And that's where having a good realtor who has good contacts with other realtors makes a huge difference.
Oh,
'Cause,
absolutely.
Tim, you could call up an agent and say, hey, I know you're listing this house. Like, what's going on with it? And people that know, like, and trust you are going to open up a little bit. And it
Sure.
makes a huge difference.
It certainly does. Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly having a real estate agent that's personable, that can, that is not confrontational.
Right.
You come across some jackwagons out there. And
Right.
It's like,
It's not a
do
competition.
you really want to work with that person?
Exactly. It's
You
not
know?
a competition. We need to work together to make sure this deal gets done and to make sure everybody is happy.
Yeah.
And that's our goal.
Now, how about rentals? What's that math look like for you?
So quick, down and dirty. Typical investors want, it's called a 1% rule. So
Okay.
if you're going to buy the house for $100,000,
Okay.
you're going to want to rent it out for $1,000 a month.
Okay, so the monthly rent needs to be at least 1% of the purchase price?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's just a quick, a lot of my clients won't even look at houses if that doesn't work.
Gotcha.
So typically my properties we have some forced appreciation. So we're about 1.5% to 2%. But again, we put some money into it. But we know this is a long-term thing. Some people are wanting to look, so there's two different aspects of a rental property. There's cash flow, and then there's adding equity.
Okay.
So where do you want to be? We talked about that burst strategy that has kind of combination of both.
Yeah.
But do you want money now that's going to maybe the income that you're making on your job? Like, is this going to surpass that? And are you going to quit your job? Or are you looking to fund your kids' college in 10, 20 years?
Something that's long-term.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all what your family goals are. And sitting down and talking to your family and your spouse about that is super important. I know me and my husband, we talk weekly about this kind of stuff. And every month it's like, okay, what's our goal now?
Yeah.
Last year our goal was to buy that short-term rental, and we're sitting back right now saying, okay, what do we want to do now?
Okay.
We have those 13 long-term rentals. We have this short-term rental. Where do we want to go?
Yeah.
My husband's still a state trooper, still super busy. The little ones are starting basketball and soccer and school, and it's crazy.
Right.
And we don't have that time to maybe do a flip or do something, so we're doing hard money.
Something that's a little bit more passive with rentals
exactly.
or hard money.
Yeah, but I still want my money working for me. Because it's sitting in a bank account is doing nothing right now.
Sure.
Zero.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or my husband's looking at it and saying, oh, Hawaii looks good. Because he's definitely doing that right now.
So you're either putting that money away or you're reinvesting it into another deal and just continually
we don't. Most investors are not going to have very much in their bank account because we're constantly putting it into deals and keep moving and letting our money work for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Well, you keep on bringing up family.
That's what matters.
And you got two boys and your husband, Brian.
Yep.
Surrounded by guys.
Heck yeah, why not?
Hey, there you go. So what is your biggest challenge with doing everything that you're doing? You're a real estate agent too. Before we get to that question, what's your business looking like as far as your time of investing versus your time with being a real estate agent?
I have some pretty good systems in place. And that's a whole nother concept. Building the business and creating those systems to make them work for you. I have 2 full-time employees.
Okay.
So in terms of the property management side and answering phone calls and, managing the flips, I have 2 amazing assistants that do a lot of that.
Okay.
While you and I are here, or when I'm going out to dinner with my family, they're working their tails off.
Yeah.
They're workers.
Right.
So I would say, it's probably 50-50 investor, realtor, maybe a little more on the realtor side.
Okay.
But with the investor, in the investor side, a lot of it is we do it as a family. So the flip, the boys came with us. They brought their little plastic hammers and they're hammering with dad. And to me, it's showing the kids hard work.
Yeah.
And it was like Valentine's Day or something last year, and Cooper brought home, their little cute school project, and it said, what does mom do for work? And I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. And it said, mommy goes to work so we can go on vacation. And I'm like, oh, that's what they think? Like,
yeah, right,
really?
Right.
But it shows that, when we say, hey guys, we do this, so we can play. We work hard for you guys.
Yeah.
So we can go on vacation, and we can have this like house next to family.
Yeah.
We instill that. They're 2 and 4, and we are always telling them that and taking them with us to show we're not sitting around. We earn this money.
Yeah.
Like, we have worked, and we're making life better for other people and life better for them.
Well, what greater
awesome.
Life lesson that you're giving your kids, and they don't necessarily. They pick up more on what they see and the actions that you're taking than if you were just saying, hey, hard work pays off. It's like, no, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my 2-year-old, and you've seen him here at the office, I'm like, all right, crew, let's go to work. Go to mommy's work? Yep, let's go to work.
And all for it. And you're spending so much family time. I mean, it's you're not necessarily just completely dumping your kids off. Like they're in for the ride.
And that was one of the main reasons I left the state police. I was working 12-hour shifts. I loved what I did. Aviation was awesome.
Yeah.
Coolest job being in a helicopter.
Hey,
don't get me wrong.
What is it called? A French Dolphin? The helicopters, right? Those are awesome.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I was pretty badass. Let me tell you. No, I'm kidding. So, and obviously he's a state trooper as well. So shift work, having done that with Cooper, when we had our second child, I was like, how in the world are we going to manage this?
Yeah.
Childcare is, we don't work 9-to-5 jobs.
Yep.
So how are we going to make this work? And family is what comes first and what matters. And I want to travel with my kids. I want to have those memories that my mom and dad gave to me. My parents they worked from home. So we were able to do that. Having this job and still helping first responders is huge, and educating and being there, and then still having my 2 little sidekick, 3, my husband. But having that opportunity and working as a family, and having those conversations are just huge. And they're so meaningful. I mean, my boys know all of my clients, and we talk about it with our clients, and like, it's just, I don't know, it's wholesome. It makes you feel good. We go out and we're able to like volunteer more. And it's just, I don't know. It's a great job. I could talk about it all the time.
That's awesome. That is so cool. What's the end goal? We talked about this before. Not necessarily the goal, because that's always moving. But what's the ultimate, like, why are we doing everything that we're doing? Yeah,
absolutely.
If you could put it in like one sentence, this is my vision statement.
Stability for the family, 100%.
Yeah.
I want my kids to know that we earned our money and we work hard. Yeah. But I want them to be able to take it over. I want them to be able to go to college and do whatever they want and know that we can back them. If they're going to move to Alaska, guess where we're buying a house? Alaska. And that is just big for us. That is truly our end goal, is just to be with our families and to be with our kids, and just have that stability and that sense of purpose. My husband and I were talking about it last week, and he's like, I want to start volunteering more. And I'm like, well, what do you want to do? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, well, let's think about that. Like, we have those options.
Right.
My husband loves what he does. He loves being a state trooper. But God forbid, if something happens to him, or if he decides that he wants to change a career path, we want to be there and support him 100%. We want him to be able to say, yeah, like, we want to go on vacation, or we want to go up to our short-term rental in New Hampshire for 2 weeks, and we can do that. And that's the nice thing about investing, is you can change your path, and that's fine. Right.
That's awesome. That is so, that man, I've kind of set this interview up more for me, because I'm looking at, our family's future, and we're so family strong as far as focused on just growing a good life for us as husband and wife, mom and dad, and the daughters.
You guys work amazing together. The incorporation you have in the business, and everybody's involved, like, that's really what matters in life. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, let's do a lightning round of just a couple quick follow-up questions.
Bring it on. Let's
These
go.
were not prepared prior to the podcast. All right. What's one tool that has helped you stay organized with the amalgam of things that are going on. Is amalgam a word? I'm not sure.
Sure, we'll call it that.
Okay,
yeah.
go ahead. With the plethora of things that are going on in your life, what's one tool that is helping you keep everything together?
My paper agenda book.
Oh,
it's
okay.
called My PA Planner.
Okay.
And it sounds ridiculous. But yeah, I write everything in it.
Yeah.
And my assistants are amazing to remind me and send reminders. But yeah, that planner is my Bible. And if I lose that, game over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What's one place that you would want a vacation that you haven't gone to yet?
Fiji.
Yeah,
it looks really cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are you a book or podcast person?
Yes.
Okay. So what's a book or podcast that brings you great joy or even learning lessons
Yeah. I adore Bigger Pockets.
Okay. You were featured on Bigger Pockets.
I was, yes.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
What's Bigger Pockets for the people that don't know?
Bigger Pockets is like an investment, essentially like Facebook page, but they have podcasts, they have blogs, they have articles, they have resources, and it's just a great learning tool. They have books, but I love their podcasts. There's different ones. There's like business podcasts, financial podcasts, investing podcasts, but I like just seeing what everybody else is doing. And kind of saying, oh, maybe I want to dabble in this, or yeah, not for me.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy listening to other people's stories.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Brian and you get a date night out. Does that happen, by the way?
Yeah, we try. Maybe once a month. I don't know.
All right.
He'll probably say no.
So if you're in Harford County, or anywhere, but
Okay.
I mean we're stationed here in Harford County, right?
Yes.
So what's the go-to spot, favorite place to go out to eat on a date night?
Uncles.
Uncles.
I love
Is that
Uncles.
Falston, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Adore it. So we went to Hawaii for our honeymoon and just kind of got just the bug. And it's so nice to have some Hawaiian food kind of come back. They have this big platter, this like catering platter that feeds like, it says 4, but we can get it for the week.
Yeah.
And it's like all the meals. With us being busy, sometimes we'll just get that and like call it a day. But it's so good. That is it. Yes.
Well, Miss Aly Anderson, we've just briefly touched on
it's been fun.
investing, and certainly I'm going to pick your brain more. But if other people want to pick your brain, where can people connect with you?
So Aly Anderson on Facebook and Aly Anderson Realtor on Instagram. And then,
And very active on those two social platforms, I might say as well.
Yeah.
You're doing phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes you'll see some of my 5 o'clock in the morning at a property fixing it up misery stories.
Yeah.
But it is cool to be able to see kind of track where we're at.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I want to acknowledge you because you do bring an energy and a passion to what you're doing,
Thank
and
you.
you are keeping people first. And I think that's one of the most important things that that we do that. And you are genuinely making a difference. Your involvement in volunteering, you're active in the community, you're big with firefighters, police, first responders, the events that you're doing for those. Like I'm looking up to you.
Oh, thank you.
In a metaphorical sense, because certainly you're a lot shorter than I am. But I look up to you for everything that you're doing in your business, and the fact that you're just getting out there and you're pounding the pavement and you're getting after it. You work hard. You're relentless. I mean, that is awesome.
We have some great role models here at the office.
Yeah, well,
including you. I mean, that was when I first came here. You were one of the ones that came up and you said, "Hey, look, the more you give back to the community, the more we get and receive." And it's truly, you've been a great role model.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again, following Aly on Facebook, Aly Anderson, and Aly Anderson Realtor on Instagram. If you haven't been following us yet, I don't know what your problem is, but you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the Markland Advantage, and we're on TikTok as well at TMA Real Estate. Are you on TikTok?
No.
Oh, you got to get on TikTok.
No.
Fastest growing platform out there right now, and we're on LinkedIn too. But please follow us, and certainly jump on our YouTube channel. You can search there at the Markland Advantage or TMA Connection, and we put everything that we record here up there, plus house tours and so much more. So. Aly Anderson,
thank you so
you're
much.
a rock star. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, folks, live your life to the fullest, and we'll see you soon. Take care.